Hello, welcome to another Gundam Battle Operation 2 video. That is the Byarlant, or as the game misspelled, the Byarlant. It's missing the R for some reason. I think in Gundam vs Zeta Gundam it's spelled that way too, which is weird. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to have the R on it, but I guess they just looked at say Gundam vs Zeta Gundam for some reason. But yeah, the Byarlant. Initial thoughts here. And this is definitely a weird suit. Before we get into that, let's get into... before that even... Air battle is really fun with this suit, just saying. Air jousting. But yeah, some stats. It has 16,000 HP, 14 ballistic resistance, and beam resistance. That is low. I forgot to mention that this is the level 1 we're talking here. It's 500, and level 2 is 550. I managed to snag both levels. A lot of my friends also grabbed it too, which is awesome. A lot of air battles are gonna happen. And the 550, the beam and the ballistic resistance only go up by 1, so it goes from 14 to 15. And then it has 20 melee resistance, 30 range strength, and then 25 melee strength. The speed and the boost gauge and the turning speed are actually noteworthy here, that I could mention them. It has 145 speed and 215 like top speed, so it's very fast suit, especially when you start flying. Has 60 thruster gauge, and then on the ground, I believe it has like 70, 71, 70 something turning speed, which that's going to get, for a lot of people that play like 500, it's going to be a little bit to get used to, but it definitely helps out the suit, especially when you're flying. Speaking of that, its skills, obviously you saw there, dodge roll, maneuver armor level 1. It has flight, obviously, and then its new skill, it has this thing called the high performance flight control mechanism, I think. And what it does is it pretty much, how it would play in space is how it would play on the ground, like the way you turn and shift, especially like you'll notice it when you melee, I think. If you do like your downswing with your single beam saber, you go forward. If you're looking down, you'll tilt down to do that. It basically makes it to where it's like you're playing space, but you're on the ground. The only problem is you have 60 thrust gauge, which, okay, I guess we're going to the negatives here. I did mention this suit is weird, and it is pretty fucking weird. I don't like how its weapon slots are, or its little slots it has. Yeah, the slots, the mid-range, close range, long range. And how its defenses are. I do not like the defenses on this thing. I get that it's supposed to be weaker to make it more aerodynamic, but 14 is a bit low, especially at 500, and then 15 for 550. I think they forgot that the Bolonok was really shit. The Bolonok had lower beam resistance, and that thing completely fucked that suit over. Even though they buffed it now, but there's other problems with that suit, but having that low beam resistance, that's like a death sentence. I think they need to buff up that beam resistance to at least 20, and that way you can decide if you want to put more resistance on that, which, with how the part slots are, it's really hard to get what you want into your suit. You have to play like very specific. So it has 20 close range slots, 5 mid range slots, and 11 long range. So if you want to put beam resistance on, you can only do like level 3 and then down, which only give you like 30, I believe, top, which is fine. But if you do that, you'll sacrifice having range strength, which if you remember in the stats, it has 30 range and 25 melee strength. Its range is higher than its melee, but in the part slots, its long range slots, is lower than the melee range. So a lot of people that were going to pick up this suit are going to see that it has more range strength, so they want to build like a range game going on, you know? And then they see that they can't put too much range parts on it, because maybe they want to put turning speed on, or some beam defense, and then they only have so little room to work. It seems like they want you to use a lot of thruster gauge and melee parts, which is fine, but at least give it higher melee strength. It's just weird that the range strength is higher, but its part slots is lower. That's just weird. Oh man, I went straight in the negatives. I don't think I did the weapons, which I guess that's it for oh, actually, there is some more negatives. It has two pretty obvious ones. I already mentioned it has lower. Actually, you know what? Yeah, it has lower beam resistance. I don't think I just completely set it out that it's just low beam resistance fucks it over. And then it's also a big target. This thing is fucking massive. It is so easy to hit. And then you couple in its 16,000 health and its low beam resistance. It's so easy to take this suit out. And then you give it some weapons that are low damage, and then it's supposed to get in close with its melee, even though it has low resistances. It's just really weird, kind of like mashup of a suit. You know what I mean? You remember reading the explanation for the Hama Hama? It said that it failed because it was just a mishmash of stuff put together, and it was an unbalanced suit. That's what the Byarlant feels like. They just put a lot of stuff together, and it just doesn't make any sense in some areas. One thing is the modifications, which the modifications, you get +1 range, +1 thruster gauge, and a complex expansion, and oh man, that was smooth. Just dodge rolling and then coming into the little corridor like that. And then the two ones you can unlock is you get to get out faster by 1 sec. You get to spawn in faster by 1 second, and your suit takes longer to get. If somebody's trying to steal your suit, it takes them longer to get it, to steal it. Which is just, it brings more into question what you should do with the suit, which that is a thing, is the suits, for a lot of people that are going to be picking up the suit, it's going to be weird to know what exactly to do with the suit. Are you supposed to harass people from the back lines? Are you supposed to frontline with it? Which, you don't want to frontline with it because you'll get fucking murdered so fast. You don't want to backline with it because you don't do enough damage to warrant just staying in the back line. I mean, you have a lot of annoying stuff you can do. You can poke at people and stun them. And, oh hey, mission complete. For the first one. I completely forgot that, I love that paint scheme, by the way. We didn't get up there, but I do believe we get second place. I guess we'll double check. Praise my friends. Yeah, 6-2, and pretty good placements, everything else. That first match was me, Zero, and James playing as a match on Arctic Base. And this one this was a match before that where I played with Honey in space, which I'll get into in space and all that. But yeah, you don't want to stay in the back line because you'll do too little damage. So what I think you're supposed to do with this suit is stay in the back line for the first portion of a push. This thing, it really relies on having a team that is very aggressive. You have your team push up, and then you back them up. You do annoying little stuns with your rapid fire or your double stun. You'll poke and prod at people, get them stunned. Your team will come over, and then once people start dying, Then you can come in with your melee and start whacking at people and finish off all the weaker enemies. Or if you know there's a straggler, you can go chase after the straggler. Which I'm talking about what you can do with it. And I haven't even mentioned the weapons on it. But yeah, so we'll start off with the primary weapons you got. You got the rapid fire mega particle cannon, which it shoots quite a bit. It's got 10% heat rate. And yeah, you hold down the fire. You can either tap it or you can just hold it down. Shit like that. You have to nearly overheat it to get a stun off. But it is pretty annoying just getting fired at and just seeing shit hit you. And then you have the single beam saber, which I believe does almost 2,000 damage. I want to say it's 19,000, 18,000. The downswing on that is really slow, but it's got a lot of range to it, especially since you can thrust forward with it. And then the secondary weapons you got the double mega particle cannons, which you'll bring up both of his hands and you shoot them and it stuns. It almost feels like the Gapley shoulder cannons, the way the beams just they fire out. You don't stand still either. They ready up pretty fast, and then you can use them, shoot somebody instantly, come in with a melee, stuff like that. And then its second secondary weapon is the two beam sabers you have, which the neutral swing on that works extremely well with its the neutral swing on that. It works extremely well when you're flying above enemies. You can just hit down. Especially if you're tilting down towards them, you can catch a lot of people, and then you can follow up with your downswing, which I want to say it's like the Pixie's downswing, the way it's just width-wise, which I completely forgot to mention that the Byarlant, its weapon swipe, since the suit is so wide in where its arms are, it has a lot of melee range, so you can catch a lot of people off guard just by doing a side swing near them, or sliding in with the neutral swing, maybe even doing your down swings, especially when you're in the air, you'll catch a lot of people slipping. Which, yeah, I guess we'll lead into the... Oh, I forgot to say the damage for the double beam sabers is like 2,000... 300. There we go. Yeah. And yeah, now to the positive, which I already said a positive for is the melee range. The melee range is good. Another positive for this suit is even though I was talking about how hard it is to do your roll in some places, when you do come in with your melee on somebody, it's really easy to put a lot of pressure on somebody. You come in with your rapid fire, and they either have to take the damage or they get stunned. They have to shoot you, or you can use your double beam stun first to stun them, and then you come in with your melee to bait out like a dodge roll. Because of how this suit approaches, it's really easy to just come up above somebody and, like I said, do your neutral swings. Just hit them from below, and if they try to tackle you, that's not a counter. You just get knocked down to the ground, which can save it. Sometimes because if you get countered, it's a long animation. That's enough time for people to come up to you, get some free hits on you, stuff like that. And of course, the flight itself is a really good positive for the suit. Flying around, it's fast, it's nimble, turning speed is really high. It's a very responsive suit, and I like that a lot about the suit. Makes it really, really fun to play. Even though the suit, I don't like the defenses on it. I think it's a really fun suit to play. Like I said, it's very responsive. Once you get the hang of just going up to people, getting ready, with your stun, your melee, it should be easy to get in close to somebody. You just have to find who to get close to. Don't frontline with this suit. Don't frontline with this suit, please. You will get murdered. Oh man, I forgot one of the negatives that this thing is really easy to take out of the sky. Even though I'm talking about how cool the flight is, how easy it is, how responsive the suit is. One Dryson bazooka will take you down. One Dryson bazooka. Because of how wide the Byarlant is, it is super easy to just hit it. So one bazooka, good, you're good. It might be hard to hit a goof flight type, but not a Byarlant. The Methis double bazooka can also take a Byarlant down in one hit. Obvious heavy stagger suits like the Zuda F or the Hyzak Custom can take it down, especially easily since it's again a big target. Machine gun, it has no damage control, so I guess if you want to pick something like the Ashamar, actually I haven't seen an Ashamar fight a Byarlant yet, but I'm going to hypothesize that the Ashamar can probably take it down pretty easily. And why I say you don't want to frontline with this suit, because it takes it's so easy to take one out when you have a whole team watching you. Even though this thing has maneuver armor level 1, you're so big, you'll be taking a lot of shots. A lot of shots. Back to positives. The flight is useful when you want to use it for your advantage. You know, like if you're on city ruins, you want to get to advantage point. There you go, just fly up. Of course, flying above enemies, making it harder for them to hit you. And because you have that weapon ability, that flight ability, you can tilt yourself down to make it easier for you to melee them. And they'll, depending on the suit, they'll have a hard time trying to melee you. I've already mentioned the weapon reach. The stuns are easy to get off. The rapid stun's really easy if you can aim. And the double stun, that's just a walk in the park pretty much. Since it has a pretty really lax setup time, and you don't even have to stop to fire it. You can just fire it immediately, and it's good. And also mission complete for this battle now. Didn't get up there again, but I 4th place, 6-4, decent. Yeah, the Byarlant in space, I think it's all right in space. It's obviously not the best suit. It is missing force injectors, sadly. If this thing had force injectors, I think it would be a much better suit for space, especially with its melee reach. But you know, I did find there without the force injectors, it does have AMBAC, and that can be helpful for some melee setups or stun options, especially if you want to use your beam cannons there. You can use your AMBAC to go back into I want to say standby mode, but after you get done boosting, you're already in cruise mode. Yeah, cruise mode. And then you can just fire your beams all immediately, and then going for your melee. So in space, I think it's pretty good, pretty alright. On the ground, it's just weird. I do think the suit has a lot of potential for the ground. A lot of potential, really. I do think it just needs to get buffed in the health department, defense-wise. I think the beam defense needs to go up. The ballistic resistance can stay down, because a lot of suits at this cost, at higher cost, have lower ballistic resistance anyway. And make it useful for, I guess, you know, methods to hard counter the suit with its double bazookas or the Dryson. I think it needs more base thruster gauge. Then you can go ham with the thruster gauge. You can be a true flying, like, it says it's aerodynamic, and it can't fly for too long. You have to keep an eye out on your thruster gauge if you're going for just your regular thruster gauge, if you're not building that up. and maybe a double dodge roll, since they did say it's aerodynamic. It can make it a lot more, I guess, scarier to fight at 500, 550. Although that one's a maybe. I had to see how more resistances would do first and more thruster gauge. But I do think the Byarlant is I think it's a good suit. I don't think it's the best suit, but for what it does, it can do a lot of. It has good options with it. It really requires a team to help it like shine. If you're trying to go up to somebody in the Byarlant and like frontline with this, you're going to die super easily. If you're going after stragglers while your team is pushing up ahead, it actually works wonders. In a 2v1 scenario, it actually works pretty fucking good because of how its stuns work. It's a really easy 2v1 suit, especially since it can watch the skies, look down at enemies. It can get a more clear shot. Let's say if they're hiding behind cover, your teammate can't shoot at them, well, you can fly over there, fuck them up. There's one match I did that I don't think I have it recorded, sadly, where Honey was hiding behind a wall, waiting for me to come around the corner. I just flew over the wall and then did my neutral swing on him with the double beam saber, so it hit straight down, and it caught him, that's a good tactic to use, using your flight for yourself. I do think it's a good suit. But yeah, that's going to be the end of this video. Leave a like, subscribe if you want. I'd really appreciate it, which I think I've hit 800 subscribers. No, 800 subscribers, which thank y'all. I'll be sure to do a stream, something for that. But yeah, type up in the comment section what you feel about the Byarlant. Do you like it? Do you hate it? I like the suit. Again, it's really fun to play. I really like it. I do think it needs a tad buff, and I think it'd be fine. Maybe if they leave the resistance alone and the thruster gauge, maybe buff the rapid fire damage. That way it can have more of a presence on the field. Maybe to help it off against stragglers more, I do think the suit has a lot of potential going for it. And it can work wonders on certain maps. I think on City Ruins, it works extremely well in City Ruins. Desert, I think it work well in Desert if you have a very aggressive team. If you don't have an aggressive team, good luck. You're going to get shot out of the sky. I think in 6v6s, this suit is really good because you can be that extra general. And if your team is very aggressive, again, you can help out a lot with just annoying people, harassing them. Yeah, you can definitely call this suit a harassing unit. There's not a whole lot of suits in this game that I would strictly call harassers. A lot of them are more like, oh, this is a tank, but it can harass people. This is a melee-oriented suit. Maybe like the Pixie. The Pixie's obviously like an assassin kind of thing. But it can definitely harass people. But the Byarlant, I think I would just call that a harasser. It does really good at that, just like Jared. It's really good at just trying to frustrate the enemy. Even though it's rapid beam fire, if you're shooting at somebody, you're going to miss either half your shots or hit their shield. Even if you're hitting their shield, they're eventually going to get stunned. Or, if their backs are turned to you, you can use your double mega particle cannon stun. It would be really annoying for that to happen to an enemy while they're trying to fight your teammates. So that's definitely a good thing about the suit. Really good for 6v6s. Really good for ace match too. If you have it go after the ace, bother the ace, and while your teammates are pushing up against the enemy team, and you know they're trying to either shoot you down or trying to stop the push, and then you can continue fucking with the enemy ace. So that's really good. Really, the way it works, I feel like it could have been a raid, because it like I say, it's a good harasser unit, so you can go bother the supports a lot. But I don't mind it being a general either. I think it works fine. Again, I think it needs more defenses, and I think more thruster gauge, base thruster gauge. Maybe for the modifications, which they're not going to change the modifications. Definitely could have gave it more melee or range for the modifications. It's really weird that it has the it takes people longer to take the suit. I guess they want you to go capture points too, which I guess that makes sense. You get there faster than most people. I guess if your team is pushing up on the enemy, you can go capture a point behind them. Be annoying, like Jared. But yeah, that's going to be it, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Damn, I was surprised you lost that low.
Oh, damn.
Are you fucking serious?
The slowest fucking downswing ever, and it catches him.
Oh, come on.